What's up, everybody? Ben Rasa and Matt Gajewski here for Awesemo Odds, and we are back talking all things Monday Night Football. But I got to clarify which game because we've got a double header tonight. We are talking Vikings and Bears, Matt. The other game, the prequel, the appetizer, has so many injuries that most of the prop markets have not even updated what the Browns and the Raiders are going to do. So keep an eye on that one. But let's talk about the teams near and dear to your heart. In your back neighborhood here, we've got the Vikings, we've got the Bears, we've got a divisional matchup. Vikings 6.5-point favorite. I always like to ask you this before we dive into our best bets. Just general thoughts on the game.
Yeah, these teams haven't played each other yet, to my knowledge, but we're talking about the bottom of the NFC North, perhaps the worst division in football, certainly in the NFC. So, I mean, it's two bottom feeders, not really much to win here. The Vikings have been playing really bad. I mean, dropping the game to Detroit. So anytime you're getting a spread this wide, I think you could take a look at a team getting the points. I don't have a lot of confidence in this, but if I'm going to back a side, it's going to be the Bears tentatively for a game where these teams, again, haven't faced each other.
Yeah, I think the spread is about right. Inside 7, not a bad number if you're a Vikings backer. Over under 45 feels about right. To me, the edge really was in the props today. I know, again, the prop market is a little wonky with all the COVID situations, but that doesn't mean that we couldn't build a same game parlay, and that's absolutely what we did. Before we dive into it, I do want to say, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Good to have you aboard. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. We're going to be doing these same game parlay videos and all types of betting content, leading you through bowl season, leading you through the NFL playoffs, leading you into the thick of the NBA season. Let's dive into this. So you and me have made a same game parlay. We're going to three-legger. We're not getting crazy here. But let's break this down. So we started with the under on Justin Jefferson, and we got under 99.5 receiving yards. Talk to me about that one.
Yeah, so it's a pretty generous line for us. I see him projected widely around the industry at 95.5, but there's good reason for this. Adam Thielen miraculously practiced this week, and he's questionable for the game, but right now he's the inside track to play. And I don't know what this Vikings training staff has been able to do to get Dalvin Cook to play after missing one game, Thielen to play after missing one game. We thought it was a high ankle sprain, but the volume when Thielen plays is very different for Jefferson. He makes a big difference here. Last two games, and I'm going to throw the game Thielen got hurt into this because he went down very early in the game. Jefferson had 14 and 15 targets. In the 3 previous games with Thielen active, we're talking about 9, 10, and 11 targets. So it's just a very different spread of the volume when Thielen is active, and that's enough for me to look at the under here.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're stealing a couple yards in value because of the same game parlay. You have those sliders available, and I'm with you. I think that the Bears defense can do enough to keep, listen, Justin Jefferson's a great player, but keep him from really having a monster game, and we're going to talk about how we've kind of built this same game parlay with that correlation in mind, because if Jefferson doesn't have a big game, I think there's some other Vikings that absolutely might. But the middle spot is probably the most aggressive of our 3 legs of this. It's Justin Fields passing completions 19 or more. So this is one of the best values over on OddsShopper. And if you haven't been to OddsShopper, go to oddshopper.com. 100% free. You get all our projections loaded into the bets. Shows you those great values, Matt. I know before the show we were talking, and you feel pretty confident that Fields may have an effective game tonight.
Yeah, I like Fields, and it's not even so much from an efficiency perspective, but volume has been there. And to your point, we're building this with the spread in mind, Minnesota playing from ahead. To the point on Jefferson's under, again, we know Minnesota likes to run the ball when they're playing from ahead, so that's another point. But conversely, that means the Bears should be passing as nearly touchdown underdogs. Outside of the Baltimore game, I'm going to isolate Justin Fields' last 5 games. So he's thrown the ball at least 27 times in 4 of the last 5. In that weird Baltimore game, just 11 attempts there. But overall, that's a lot of volume for Fields. And if he's going to throw the ball around 30 times, he really doesn't have to be that efficient to reach this number. And again, they're projected to trail in this game, so they should be throwing the ball to begin with. I like Fields a lot for those reasons.
Yeah, I think when Fields when he got the call, he was very, very limited, and now they've started to really ramp it up. He utilizes the running backs and tight ends and whatnot. So there's a lot of easy completions in there. It's not just burners with Mooney all the time, which is great, obviously, for air yards, but not for a prop like this. We want David Montgomery to have 8 catches. Anyone who's coming out of the backfield to have those catches because they rack up quickly. And I do think they're going to be trailing. And I do think that Fields, as a volume and even from an efficiency standpoint, will be pretty effective tonight But you've alluded to our last leg a couple times already. If the Vikings are playing from ahead, Dalvin Cook has got to be involved. And we got over 84.5 here rushing yards. Again, a very generous line because of the sliders. It just makes sense as the last piece of the puzzle to me that Dalvin Cook could have a massive workload if the Vikings play from ahead tonight.
For sure. And last thing on Fields, that 11 attempt game, he got hurt in. So Dalton played and actually threw the ball 34 times. A lot of volume for Fields. But if they're playing from ahead, Minnesota is a team that is very reliant on the run. They're comfortable with this game plan. Coming off the injury, and we weren't even sure Dalvin Cook was going to play last week, but he carried the ball 27 times for 205 yards, 2 touchdowns. The volume is going to be there if they play from ahead. This is a guy that has at least 22 carries in 3 of his last 4 games, and there's an injury mixed in there. So, I mean, this is a spot where Cook has been so involved in the run game in competitive games. Now, if they play to the spread, he should easily eclipse 20 touches. And with the generous spot we got on this line, very comfortable with this.
Yep, you summed it up. But again, Minnesota's in the thick of the race here. Need these games. Dalvin Cook could push for 25 carries. You're asking him to, 3.5 yards a carry-ish if he gets to that type of volume. Against the middling Bears defense, I think he easily eclipses that. And again, it just tells the story. If Dalvin Cook explodes for a massive, massive game, Justin Jefferson's ceiling is probably somewhat limited, and it causes Justin Fields to really have to play catch up on the other side. We put these 3 together, we're getting over 4-1. We're getting plus 425 on our bet here. Like I said, a same game parlay, a lot of fun. And if you're enjoying this type of stuff, head over to OddsShopper. We have pre-made parlays for you, all different types in the parlay builder. It is a blast. There are edges to be had. And obviously when you're sweating a game, it's never bad to have that type of upside. But Matt, anything else in this game before we bounce out of here?
I think just monitor the news. You might be able to get some really good props or some late news breaking that can help you in the betting markets. And it's going to be important tonight and tomorrow with all the COVID implications.
Yes, Tuesday Night Football will be upon us. But for me, for Matt, for Awesemo Odds, good luck tonight. Enjoy the Monday Night Football doubleheader and stay tuned for more content here from OddsShopper and Awesemo Odds. We'll talk to you soon.